Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Joy of Painting with me, Jack Masters, episode 2. Back to base coats. As you can see, I've grown a perm in the space of a week, and I have to say my hairdresser is the best. You should go hit her up. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. So, we're back here a second time, and I haven't run away yet. I'm still wanting to finish this off, and it's a good thing. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm a bit nervous. So I've changed a few things. I've taken some critique of what happened last time. I'm focusing more on the zooming of the camera on the model. So hopefully that should be all right. So the last time we saw this gorgeous beast Ludo, I said that I was going to finish off the base coat. So as you can see, everything now is back. Well, it's now fully painted, and it's ready for the next step. So today, on today's episode, what we're going to do is we are going to do the next layer on the hair. So we're going to finish off, we're going to add our next layer to this hair, and then depending on the time, it's going to be probably an ink wash over the whole thing, because we're going to need that to get into the recesses and make it a bit more darker for the next step for the skin and the horns, and obviously that coincides with the hair to give a bit more definition. So that's what we're going to aim to do today. And what was I going to say? Next step, we're going to look at potentially doing a new technique. Well, I say a new technique. It's very much so how I was taught how to paint. So Duncan Luca, James Taro, Ben Williams or Ben McIntyre, they taught me that you would do base coat, and then you would mix in the next layer, then go to that, then the layer, then the next one, and so on and so forth. But then when I worked for Games Workshop, it was base, ink, layer. So I'm going to see, I think today, I think in this tutorial, we're going to do the James, Ben and Duncan technique of base coat, mix it together, and then layer, and then that layer mixed in with the next layer, and then so on and so forth. So it might be a bit more time consuming, but I think it'll give us more detail in the eventual look of this model. So without further ado, let's go on to today's equipment. So I would recommend definitely using a big brush. Maybe not this one because that's a bit too big, so we'll put that down for now. And then we're going to work, as always, on we're going to use the miniature Broken Toe 2 miniature series Mark III Kalinsky Sable. Used this last week, and the first time touching the bust, and it was actually really, really handy. So I definitely will be using that to cover Ludo's hair with the next paint onwards. So that's going to be cool. And then for the inks, we're going to use this little wash brush, which I have used so many times because it's basically got a very good grip. When I say grip, it can carry a lot of ink on the top. So if you do need or want to do a lot of ink washes, this is the brush I would recommend. And I probably think that's probably the two brushes we're going to use today. In terms of other equipment, we've got no, not that one. It is Trollsare Orange. That's the orange we're going to use for Ludo's hair today. So we're going to literally cover it again, and this time we'll get a bit more definition on Ludo's hair. And then what we're going to do is then we're going to go onto the Agric shade. Now this, I'm sure many hobbyists have used this too many times, too many for I can count, because this is definitely the paint to use if you want to get something done very quickly and very effectively as well. And in terms of the other equipment, we've got again, Redgrass Games Wet Palette XL. I would definitely recommend going to look at their Kickstarter at the moment, which is doing for the next wet palette, Mark II, and they're doing two different sizes, a little petite one and a massive one, and I would definitely recommend that. I've backed that already, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out in the future. And then last but not least, we've got our jug of water. Wow. Jug of water, which I forgot to change, so that should be fine for now. So let's crack on with today's episode with The Joy of Painting. So, as you can probably tell, with my nervous breed or my nervousness, I am still very open and still very nervous about doing this live. But I hope you all enjoy this new get up, because I think it's a bit fun just to kind of take the edge off things. And if you can enjoy it, you can just give us a like and stuff and have a little laugh emoji. One thing I also was going to say is looking at the my projects. So I was given this a long time ago, and in here I've got all my entire painting schemes, and I'm really enjoying it. Enjoying all the different kind of paints and techniques that I'm using. I'm so sorry about this. My apologies. Gonna put this down for a second. Sorry about that. So inside here I've got literally all my painting stuff which I've used in the past. So we've got my Ogre Flesh. This is thanks to Dave Glacier, Armory Dave on Instagram. So go follow him, because he's doing 30k for 30,000 points to 30k. So he's doing a fantastic job from what I've seen. And then we've got Ludo. So just to double check, it's Troll Slayer, because I've literally got the mind of a fish and I will always forget what I'm painting. So I always have to make sure that I'm doing the right thing in terms of what colours I'm using. So if we go with the Troll Slayer Orange, give that a bit of a shake. I forgot to grab my my little paint shaker, but this will have to do for now, because I can try and get out later, but this will do fine for now. One comment I was made on my YouTube clip, so thank you for anyone who's watched it, was saying to make sure to keep focused on Ludo, or at least getting a bit more zoom. So I'm going to try, and hopefully with this new Doobie Whatsits on the camera, it should make it a little easier. So let's start with just going over the hair. Nice and slowly, trying to cover as much as I can. So I was thinking this week and going exactly what I want to do with these tutorials, and as I said before, I want to basically show that newcomers or newcomers to the hobby, or just people who want to paint, just show that it's not that hard. Like, yes, the initial step is terrifying and you're literally going in like blind, but you have people there and you've got the internet to help you with that. So I recently joined an orc group online. I haven't played orcs for a while, and if you go to my first episode, you'll know exactly how much I love orcs. And I was very much in the space of, I don't know what the hell's happened in the space of a year. So I asked quite openly, what's happened in a year? Can you guys give me a heads up about what's changed in terms of like the Warhammer 40,000 community, and what has changed in terms of the gameplay? And instantly you get people on there being very helpful and actually going, yeah, this has changed, this is what's happened, and it's really sound. So never be afraid to ask anyone or have an open question. The second thing I would say is I made originally it was called Masters Miniatures, and that was created a couple of years ago, but it wasn't really used. But now I've obviously renamed it _joy_ of painting, that kind of jazz. It's all underscore, so I will put the link down below in this video. But basically it just helps. Instagram as well is very good for inspiration. So one of my close friends, Lady Kane and Brad Glover Kit Bash, they both are fantastic with inspiring people, and I've seen them go do so much cool stuff in the past couple of years. In fact, like Chloe, she's now got Tea and Tactics, which with her colleague, I haven't met him or I haven't spoken to him, but I can't remember his name. But Tea and Tactics looks like they're doing a very good job and supporting the community, really. And that's all it's about, really, is just supporting the community. Because if you haven't got community in with this hobby anyway, you're not gonna. It doesn't do well. I find that if you need help with anything, it's always good just to ask people. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm doing this bit here, and I think this bit is a skin, but I think I'm gonna leave it as hair because it has a nice little flick here. And to be fair, it's my model. I can choose what I want to do with it. And as the glorious Mr. Ross once said, we don't make mistakes, just happy accidents. And this is my model, and I can do what the hell I want with it. And one phrase I always love using as well, it's your hobby. You can do whatever you want. I keep forgetting, making sure this is the right paint, because I really don't want to put on like the wrong orange and go, oh dear, it's the wrong orange. That's the last thing I ever want to do. So what are we going to do here? So we're back on to this bit here. So what else what else has happened this week in terms of the Warhammer hobby and just painting in general? Oh yeah, the new Gazcool book was released yesterday, and I was one of the lucky ones to be able to grab the limited edition copy. One thing I was actually going to say, so a lot of people have said to me, well, I've seen on groups that scalpers, so these are people who you don't know, scalpers are people that will buy stuff and then resell it, and they are in their entire right to do so, but they basically increase the price dramatically, and it's not good at all, because it means people like me, dedicated fans, actually want to use it and actually will get enjoyment out of it. Just can't get it. Luckily though, Games Workshop is releasing a normal copy of this, but I'm a bit of a limited edition addict, I would say, and I want to make sure that I have everything Orc limited edition. So I decided to grab it, and I was there at 10 to 9 on the Saturday, making sure that everything was ready. Because that's what I was going to say. If you ever want something from Games Workshop and you are worried you're not going to get it, always make sure you are logged onto the system at around 10 to 10. Because by then, if the computer system will update and you just keep refreshing, sometimes it will go up on the computer like 5 or 6 minutes before. So if you can wind your clocks back to last year around this time when Indomitus was being announced, myself and James Tarrow were going to go halves on one on the box, and we both were there, we were both ready to go, and the whole website completely crashed. And it's like a panic. You go into a panic and go like, oh no, I can't get it. But we managed to grab a copy each, and then we split one between us because we really wanted to get into this stuff. But then I was out of the hobby for a bit, and then I decided, oh, you know what, I don't really fancy doing Marines, because I think there's always going to be a part of me that will love the Imperium and love Space Marines, but I think my biggest love is going to be Orcs, and it always will be Orcs. That will never change, because as I will keep on saying, I'm Mr. Goth Boy, is that I will never stop loving Orcs, because I think their way of playing is just incredible. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Gazcool. I'm so sorry. I keep on backtracking, but I find that talking, I can then go into massive tangents. But if it keeps you guys interested, I'm more than happy or willing to discuss things. If you want to have a message, if you want to have a chat, or want me to raise a subject, always put a comment on the Facebook feed or the Twitch feed, and I will do my best to try and get to answer your questions, obviously. But it all depends on what you guys want to hear me talk about, because, you know, if you want to talk to me about my own experiences, or you want to talk to me about my interests, go for it, because I'm an open book. I will gladly talk about whatever you guys want to, really. As long as you want to know about it, I will do so. But going back onto Orcs, I was very happy to have got this book because I think Gaz himself has been under so much, very mystery actually, to be fair, because no one actually knows, apart from it's a few things I remember when I was a kid, is that I don't remember how he became like a big boss. I know he was a basic goth boy, and then he got his head shot in by a bolt round, and Mad Dog Grotsnit fixed him up, and after that he had a vision from Gork and Morgan saying like, I'm going to be the prophet of the war, I'm going to be the biggest orc, and that's awesome for him. That's great. But I want to know like the other bits, because when they announced him last year announced him with his psychic and his bestest bud Makari, like I think I haven't been that excited ever since they announced anything about the ogre armies, to be fair. And ogres are like my second love. But how can I not talk about the new AOS box that dropped yesterday? Now, who else was excited to see that? Because that was just, I said to my mate, if they release hobgoblins if they release cool looking orcs, I will do them. And then lo and behold, they actually do these new orcs, and I'm there like, oh for goodness sake, I'm gonna have to do them now. And I'm just like, I don't want to, because I've already got too many plans on the go, or I want to focus on stuff. But there was one idea that I think I might look into, and that's going to basically be around. It will basically be looking at orc pirates. Now, I know a lot of people know that I hate orc pirates. I hate bad moons. I hate flash. I hate bad moons. I hate the way that they operate. That they're the richest orc clan, and they are very arrogant. And I'm just like, no, you know, I don't like you. So always remember, when you wash your brush out, just whack the chaos gods out of that. Whack it, because the last thing you want to do is have other paints on your brush when you're painting. I'm so sorry, I'm gassy today. And I tell you what, I wouldn't want to have this permanently, because I don't think I can manage. Because I just know it's just too much hair, too much. I don't like it at all. So before I transition again into Orgarth tangent, making sure we've got actually going back to Ludo. So as you can see, Ludo's now a bit more brighter in his hair, which is great, awesome. So let's focus in a bit. So there you go. So you can see it's a lot more hair. It's a lot more brighter, basically. But we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for another colour on the top. Just 2 thin coats, just because it makes it a little bit more easier. Because again, you need to do 2 thin coats on most things. Because if you do 1 coat, it's great and all. It's good, but you need a 2nd coat just so you don't have any of like the remnants of the original colour. Because at the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to ink over this, which is fine, but I want to be able to have like a nice clean layer. Is that the word I'm looking for? I just can't talk today. I'm very tired. So yeah, you can see that I'm just going to try and get as much as I can in terms of an even coverage. That's the word, an even coverage over the entire model. Because you may see if you do yourselves or do ginger hair yourself, you may see that you've got some bits that will raise up. But don't worry, once this dries and you ink it down, it'll look absolutely fine. So don't you worry about that. And again, I do apologise about trying to get this thing in focus. I can't talk today at all. I'm going to blame the hair. I'm going to blame it because the hair's doing me the problem. So what I want to ask you guys, whoever you're watching, if you're watching this live or you're watching this through YouTube, what I want to know is what are the armies that you like playing with? What are the armies that you prefer? Battling against, painting, because everyone's got a few that they love in terms of collecting, but actually battling, what's your preference? What's your favourite army to play against? Because everyone's got an army that they would gladly choose if they were if you're playing a game and you're like, who would you like to play? What army would you like to play? Hands down, I'd love to play Primaris, because Primaris, no, actually, that's a lie. Hands down, it'd be Imperial Guard, because one of my friends, when I was younger, the dream was always to play trench warfare on a longboard table. So, like, imagine a 8x4 or maybe a 12x4 board, and on one side it was all trenches, and the other it was completely open, barren wasteland. And the plan was to have Imperial Guard in the trenches, and then Orcs on the other hand, and would basically have like a massive 8,000 point game or 10,000 point game, and just enjoy it, because that's the thing that keeps you going. That's the kind of that's the thing that makes me love this hobby, because I think I spoke about it last time, but when I saw the Dawn of War 1 intro, oh my goodness me, I loved it. That was the first time that I saw visually what I loved, and I think it was the best thing to ever do. Sorry, I'm wobbling on now. I'm waffling, but it's the one thing that I think I would love to do and still do, because you have Basilisk, and you've got all things going boom, boom, boom over the head, and you've got Orcs just going straight into the crunches. Don't care if they die or anything, but you just keep on having a laugh. Varney89, what did you put? Dark Elder Armada is the best, or a Skaven Swarm for old school fantasy where you had what felt like. Hell yeah, Varney, I completely agree with you. Age-old 8th edition fantasy was the best. I have to be so careful about my language, because I can go into a lot more colourful language with how I felt about 8th edition, because 8th edition was, I loved it. I absolutely adored it. So when I started, as I said last stream, I started off Lizardmen, and they just in Warhammer, I want to say 6th edition. I want to say 6th edition or 5th. One of the two. I was on the end of 5th. And oh my goodness, it was... There's nothing better than seeing ranked up Skaven on the board. And I couldn't touch it, because Skaven, to me, I just was no. Hordes of miniatures. Could not stand it. I hated it. But that's when Ogres came out. I was yeah, ranked up Ogres, I'll take that. They were rubbish, don't get me wrong. They were absolutely cack until later editions, but they after, I think in the 8th edition, you had the Gut Star, and I'll get onto that in a minute. But 8th was Battle of the Wizards, sadly got a bit bonkers. Yeah, I give you that. Yeah, it was, I think it was very much Battle of Wizards. Even I had to literally go. I had to give up, not give up, but I had to go round the fact of I needed to have a wizard in my army to protect myself, and I was I don't want to have a wizard. Butchers are awesome. Butchers were great, because you could really cheek. You can be really cheeky, because when Jervis Johnson, I think him and the American writer, I cannot remember his name, but he put in the Butchers or Slaughtermaster's entry that they could have an Iron Fist, which meant they could have magic armor, and they could have armor, and it was yeah, my Butcher has a 4-up invuln and a 4-up and a 2-up armor save, come get some. And these Butchers were not these weren't average Joes. These literally walked up to people and then slapped them around the face with their axes. Yes, they had. Oh yeah, Hellheart. Hellheart was. Oh, how Hellheart! I do miss that so much. Hellheart was such a great item. It was worth the 50 points. I tell you that, it was worth it. Because for people who don't know what Hellheart did, who are watching this stream or watching in the future, Hellheart was an item that you would move up. Well, for me personally, I would move my Gut Star, which was a unit of 16 ogres. Right, 12. Yeah, 16 ogres, 12 Iron Gut strong, and then 4 characters in each. So you had a Tyrant, a BSB, a Butcher, and a Slaughtermaster, and a Firebelly. And the way that you moved it was you couldn't, you had to, if you attacked it in combat, you had to attack individual characters, and it meant that you couldn't get as many attacks, and because they're all against characters, you can't attack the main bulk behind. And let's face it, in fantasy back then it was all about the units, and having 18 ogres swinging their scythes at strength 6, 4 attacks each, swinging with the horde formation, you were gonna get hurt. Like, it was gonna really hurt you. But Hellheart, yeah, you'd get to the front line, and then you did go, right, Hellheart, I'm gonna initiate it. And basically this butcher or slaughtermaster, he eats this heart of a spawn of chaos, this evil thing, and it basically has this magic outload, and it's like you can't control it. So what you do is you cracked it open, you cracked it in your enemy's magic phase, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the comments on the stream. But if your enemy wizard would to roll any double, not just double 1 or double 6, it was a miscast, and you'd have to roll and see what happens. But I remember when I was younger, and the original Hellheart, that was worse, because the original Hellheart, you rolled on the ogre miscast table, and that one you did not want to roll double 1, because that was horrible. Like, to the point where if you rolled a 1, you die. On a 2, you lose D3 wounds, and you can't cast much for the rest of the game. And then up to where a 6, if you rolled a 6, you became frenzied. And back in like 6th and 7th, it was like, yeah, great, a frenzied wizard with 1 attack going, I'm gonna kill you. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to die. You're going to die a horrible death. So it sucks to be you. Again, I'm going on off a tangent, but I'm loving talking about this hobby because I've missed this hobby chat for so long. So, as you can see from Ludo, just giving a bit of a dry, so you can now see that the hair's a bit more brighter and a lot more kind of in line with Ludo's kind of, I wouldn't say dirty look, we've still got to put the Agrax on the top, but once it's done, we're going to get now this all rest covered. And the thing is though with Agrax and washes is that it does take time to dry, so I'm gonna just have a quick look and see if there's anything that I can do before I wash it as well. So as you can see, we've got here a little bit of orange that just kind of got onto the stone. So what we're gonna do is go back to our Steel Legion drab, what we used originally from last week, and just pop that onto Ludo's face here. And I think this is the right one. I still worry about this. I still worry about getting it wrong, because that's the last thing I want to do. I'm like, put a thing on the miniature and go, oh, wrong colour. But it's fine. Happy mistakes. No accidents. 1 or 2. You get the drift. So one thing I was going to do is in relation to the new Orc stuff that's coming out, I want to do a live stream of my reaction to the new Orc book when it comes out. This will be, well, I don't know, it could be any time, because Games Workshop to be fair, Games Workshop are kicking out a lot of stuff recently, and it's a good thing. But I'm there wanting my Orc stuff, and they announced next week is the new Sisters stuff, and you know, I'm not a big Sisters fan, but you know, fair play, the stuff looks really cool, really fun, especially the new commander, which is she's meant to be a High Lord of Terror, and I'm like, yeah, you're actually getting stuff done, you're actually gonna go and you're actually gonna do the work, not just sit behind on your butt and do like, yep, I'm just gonna do nothing, I'm gonna enjoy in my couch on Terror going, yes please, over there, do the work for me, I'm not gonna get attacked. And it's like, no, do your thing, get stuck in. But then again, that's my orky nature coming in, and because I'd rather lead from the front in all aspects of what I do. So as I was saying before I went on to a horrible tangent, I want to do a live stream of me reacting to the new Orc book. So I want to know exactly what you guys want to, what you would like me to focus on, in terms of like the rules, the points. I will go through like the entire thing back to back, and I'm not much of a reader, but I will read for this. And I just said that even though I've bought a book from Games Workshop, which is a novel by Nick Kime. Oh dear. If it was literally a picture book, I'd be fine. I can look at the pretty pictures and go like, yeah, that's happening, that's happening, that's happening. But for some reason, I definitely think I can read proper. I hope. I hope it's not that bad. Because when I was younger, I did love The Hungry Caterpillar. That was a very good book. I loved that book too much. I almost ate the book. Almost. But I didn't. That's the main thing. So to those who are joining us now, thank you for joining. Only a couple people, but it's still something. If I'm making you laugh, like that's all I care about. Like making you laugh, having a good time, especially during lockdown right now. Like even it's just you can't really do much. Like you can do a few things. Like happy that the pub is still open, and that's the main thing. But seeing your loved ones and stuff, that's that makes people smile. So right anyway, enough of me chatting. We've spent like 10 minutes because it's now been 30 minutes on the stream, and I'm like, I've just done some hair. Joy. So what we're going to do is we're now going to do some washing. So to those of you that don't know how to wash, it's pretty simple. You get soap, you put your... I know it's a really, really lame joke, but it's makes me laugh. And if you can't laugh at yourself, like, what's the point? So what we're going to do is we're going to go onto the Agric Surf Shade, and we're going to start doing just very, very, very little... a little bit of washing. So we're going to retire the broken toed brush. I'm going to wash that later. And one thing I was going to show you is the benefits of using brush soap in your brushes. So I never used to use brush soap at all until again a variety of people told me, like Dave Glacier, James Tarrow, Duncan Luca, Ben Williams. They have always said to always treat your brushes with care, because if you don't treat your brushes with care, like you're going to spend so much more money on brushes, which is horrible. So you can use stuff like this. Well, I'll get onto the painting brushes in a minute. So you've got stuff like this, which came with the wet palette, or you can use what I've kept for so long, which is just your average tile. It's nothing fancy, nothing at all. It's your average tile. But I have this tile has been with me 8 years, I want to say 8 years, and it has a lot of memories of me spilling paint brushes, spilling ink on here, spilling just everything, and just getting it on my desk and stuff. But here's a fun fact for you: I never painted. Whoops, there's me being a lazy painter. I never used to paint on a desk. I actually painted on my bed, and my goodness me, I wish I got a desk sooner. And it really happened when someone kind of helped me get on the right path and actually show me how to do the right things, and save money, and save up for what you want. So thank you. But yeah, let's go on to the inking of Agric Surfshade. So with inks and washes, I still call them inks. I think they're inks because that's from when I was a kid. So literally just get that on there. Just so like in a little bit of just stuff like that. And it's a bit dark, and just add a bit of water to it, just to dilute it a bit. And a bit more. A bit more. That's my previous way of painting coming through there, just like literally going, yep, layer it on, just layer it. So, I'm gonna get onto the miniature and just very, very, very slowly do this in the right way. So just on there. So as you can see, to those of you that don't do painting, or this is your first time watching these videos, or painting in general, what washes and inks do is they basically make the model darker, but also give a bit more definition. So you're literally going to do this a little wash, Just think of it as you're giving your model a bath. That's the best way to put it. Just don't do what I did. Don't buy a gargantuan swig off from Forge World and then literally take a bath with it, because that was bad. That was very bad. I mean, it was nice and clean, but no, never again. So you're just going to basically make sure to get air everywhere. So with this, you want to make sure that many times I've done this is you don't want it to pull. And what I mean by pull is that you'll see here in the recesses, it basically gets a massive amount of it will basically start to like sit there and not move. So what I've learned to do is, rather than going back into the little mix you've got here, just try and use that and just spread it about evenly. It's no worries if you don't. It's no bother if you don't do that. But if you want to do this in a proper way, and to make sure that it's nice and smooth and nice and easily smooth, I would definitely just try and get the pull of this out. If you find that it's getting a bit dry on the model, don't worry, it's fine, because the next step for us after, well, most likely will be next week, will be to get the next level highlight on here. Now, one thing I was going to say is I will be doing, as you guys know or may not know, I will be doing these tutorials weekly, every Sunday from 7 till 8. If I fancy doing a longer session, I will do a longer session, but it all depends on how I feel, basically. But if there's anything that you guys would want me to do or focus on, like any kind of techniques that you would like to learn, I can do my ruddy best and help you guys out, because in last week's channel, I wanted to make sure that this channel, or these videos, what I'm doing now, is just to help people who just don't really know, like, to do specific techniques. Like, I'm still learning, my goodness me, like there are still things that I want to learn how to do. So many things. I want to know how to wet blend. I want to know how to do more cool conversions, because I haven't done a decent conversion for a long time. But thanks to my lovely friend Mr. Glover of Brad, he's given me a few ideas for my next orc project, and I've kind of made it my goal to finish, well, in just 40k. I'm just going to focus on orcs, because I haven't got the time and the space to focus on multiple factions, and I will want to basically be able to focus all my basically make sure that all my focus and time is done into one project, and it will basically make sure that I can do a decent job. Because like I've been there in the past where I've had so many projects, so many things that I haven't completed, and they've been sitting under my desk or under my bed doing literally nothing, and it's just not right, because I want to do so much. I would love to be able to do like different armors and stuff, but I just don't have the time, and that's something that I will always never forget. Because I remember when I was a kid, and I always heard the adults say like, "Oh, I haven't got enough time to do hobby and stuff," and I was there going, "Nah, that's a lie. I've always got time for Games Workshop." And oh my goodness me, they were true. Oh, they were true. I've literally tried to make sure that I spend my Sunday with you guys, you lovely people, just to be able to show, just to actually do some hobby, because I haven't, as I said to you in the past, I haven't touched this hobby for a long time, and a year for me is a long. Obviously with the thing that shall not be named, because of that, I haven't really been able to see my friends in terms of my hobby friends, because they've been there for me when I've needed them, and I thank them all so much. It's a bit of an emotional one there, but no, thank you guys. This is because you've all helped me in different ways, and you know it helps, because as I said to you guys before, it's very therapeutic. This hobby is therapeutic. It's whatever gets you going with this hobby. You can be the painting side, the hobbies, the gaming side, like my goodness me, like the gaming side for me is like the pinnacle. Because I just love the. Oh, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, again, if you're watching this live or in the future, but like, who loves that buzz, that weak buzz before an event? So we're talking like, well, back then it was Games Day. You had like the GTS. That weak buzz was just absolutely amazing. It was so much fun. Like, I remember me being a young nipper, a young whippersnapper, and just it's just the going to bed on a Saturday evening, going, yeah, it's Games Day the next day, and I'm waking up at God knows o'clock in the morning, and my parents having to take me there. Like, thanks again, Mum and Dad. I do appreciate that all the times that you've dropped me there and going, oh great, there you go, one more event he's going to go to and come back with more stuff he's not going to use. Like, even they said that, and that's absolutely fine. And they were true. Every time I'd go to Games Day and come back with stuff that I wouldn't touch for a long, long time. But I think when I got older, I really, really, really loved. I really loved the GT. So like Warhammer events such as the GT, the Throne of Skulls, the Throne of Skulls doubles. Oh, they were great. Like it's always for me. Like, I would always be worried about getting my stuff done the week before, and oh my goodness, I did that every time. As you guys know, as I've said countless times before, I love painting so much. I really do. I do find the joy of painting is a great name for my this new channel. And to be honest, like, I joke about this, but it does actually bring me joy actually spending some time with you guys to actually just chat randomly and just enjoy it, really. And I always would leave my hobby equipment to the last week. And I remember one specific time where it was at a GT, I think, or a Throne of Skulls, and I had to basically get to one world, and we had to spend an entire evening getting the stuff done. And we were there one day in Games Workshop, Woking, trying to get my army done, and I felt so bad because I had my friend at the time just going like, really, last minute again? And I'm like, yes, last minute again. What were you doing? And I'm like, I didn't really want to paint, so I was going to ask you guys to help me. And I know that's a really bad thing to do, but like, it was great. And then as I got older, I said the GTs and the Throne of Skulls. Look at that lovely hair, as you can see here. So going back to what I said about the pooling. So if you can, while it's still wet, just try and get it all round. That's what I call the wet on wet technique. Bit of Bob Ross there. So we're just gonna spread this out evenly and keep going. And yeah, when I was older, like, we would go to the GT and we would just enjoy ourselves. Like, it was just a wake getting up there and, you know, having a Friday to make sure we were all ready to go. Like, the journey up to Warhammer World was just, it was great. It was so much fun. And then we would get to Warhammer World and then basically make sure that everything was ready, as I said, and then go home. We'll go to the hotel, rest up for a bit, and then go get dinner, and then go off, and then wake up on a Saturday morning, and then get ready for gamers. And always it's always that first game. You're always thinking like, oh dear, what's the how's the first game going to be? Because whenever you go to tournament, you can either get, because it's all random, the Swiss pairings, but the first one's always random, and you can always go like, oh dear. So you could get drawn up against a very lovely gamer, a lovely person, or you can get drawn up against someone who, well, likes to play the game a little bit too much, very competitive. And I'll put my hands up and say that I've done that in the past. Like, I always try to make sure that when I game, it's always to the best of my ability, and it's always, you know, very respect. I don't cheat, and I just want to make sure that everything is as it should be, respectful. And oh yeah, just there's been times like when I've come against people and they're just. I remember one time this was years ago, absolute years ago. I was playing a guy, and he just basically had his headphones in, and when it wasn't his turn, he'd have his headphones in. I'm just there like, so what? Am I just like something nothing to you? Am I just like a figment of your imagination? I'm like, no, like, come and engage, because that's what I find the most hardest thing to do, because you can have some of the best games ever, and not because you win, it's because you have that combat rapport with people. Like I remember when I played a guy called Nick Thompson, and his partner. I can't forget. I always forget your name, man. So I do apologise. But Nick Thompson, myself, and Dave Glacier, we went as the Tunsgate Tyrant Petting Zoo, and this was a doubles game with Age of Sigmar, and it was the last game, and for some reason, like, taking 2 destruction armies actually went quite well, because literally all we did was we just charged the opponents, and everyone was going, yeah, we've got to be tactful. I'm like, no, straightforward, no, don't care, just go, attack. And we got to the final, and on second table, and we were there, and Nick and his partner were like, what you've done is basically, if we get first turn next, you lose automatically. And I'm like, yeah. Dave and I were like, yep. If we lose, we get it. You win. And then we roll for it. We get it. Oh, sorry. No, before that, Nick and his partner were basically spent the next 10 minutes going like, is there something wrong here? Is like, do they know something that we don't? Is there something in the rules pack that like allows them to win instantly if they do this? And we're like, no. It's just literally we're playing mind games. Mind games with orc destruction players. Ogres, Oryx, and Ugars. Ugars, darling, is the name of ogres now in Age of Sigmar. And we got the second turn, and we went smashing to the lines, and we had a great laugh. However, we did still lose because they did at the time have they had Mulasai, so think like dark elves, dark elves with snake bodies, and it's like, oh joy. Oh joy! That famous combination, which I think is the I hate them. I hate them so much. I hate Malasai. I hate them. I do with passion. There's not many things that I hate in Games Workshop, but Malasai, like, they are the most annoying things I have ever played against, because you can think that there is a massive moo cow, a massive beast that she made of stone that literally charges into things and literally is meant to go boom straight in and take things down. But then you've got something that with all these buffs will then just go, no, I'll take the hit, and I'll just go boing, that's it, done. And I'm there going, okay, fine, have 4 massive stone cows and an entire regiment of like these woolly Rhinox things called Rhinox, for people that don't know, because I also have a massive love for Rhinox. And I go into a unit of 10 of these Mulusai, 10 of them, 10 Mulusai, and they are buffed. I will give them that. They're buffed to pieces. And they're like, yeah, I'll take them on, that's fine. They cannot survive a charge. They cannot survive that charge. I bounce right off them. I bounce off, and I'm there going, you're taking the biscuit. How do you? I just don't get it. Like, everything was in my favour. Everything was, but because of their buffs at the time, just bounce off, and I'm there going, well, that was great, fantastic. And ever since then, I always had like a rivalry. If anyone had like Mulusai, I would always go straight for them and be like, well, I want to kill him. Like, I want, if we were in a team event, I'm there going, I want a Dark Elf player. I want to take my revenge, sweet revenge against any Mulusai player. And there was a guy who I met at a Throne of Skulls event, and again, I can't remember his name, but I've got him on Instagram and Facebook. His army was so nicely painted. It was beautiful, and in the first turn, charged in. With ogres, it's pretty much you get the first turn, and if you want it, you literally have to rely on the double turn. You have to rely on it. and I lost it, and he basically was like, if I take the first turn, you're going to lose. And I was like, yes, so you take it, and that's fine. And they was like, no, you have it. And I was like, you what? And he was like, yeah, you have it. I want a good game. And he, even knowing that if I got the charge off and he had no buffs on, it might affect his it might affect the outcome. And I was like, thank you, honestly, thank you. And I did. I went straight in, and the rest of the game continued, and we had a really good game. And ever since then, I have respect for that, because anything else, I would never have. I think it's that kind of camaraderie, that it's so nice to have those kind of games where you want to have a good game. You obviously you want to win. Of course you want to win. It's a game. Like, the aim of the game is every game you play, you play to win. But it's the way you play it. That's how I see it. And I always want to play a good game. I always want to make sure that I have fun with my opponent. And I hope that anyone who's played me in the past, no matter if it's old or new, that can say that they haven't had a bad game against me. And because I do not to take it to heart, but I just want to make sure that I want to make sure I do the right thing in everything that I do. Painting off table and on the table, and it's just a pleasant. It's nice to know that people, even on the top tiers of the tables, because I played a lot of competitive Age of Sigmar and 40k in the years past, and it was fantastic. I loved it, but it gets too much when sometimes it's just, when you've got people that just want to win. They don't care about talking to you. They just want to win, and that's fine. That's their hobby. That's absolutely fine. You can do what they want, but it's just like, I want a bit of like fun with my games. But yeah, oh my goodness me, how has it been 52 minutes already? Like, how? There's 2 episodes I've done so far, and I've enjoyed them so much, so much. But it's just a lovely bit of. I just love that, I can get a chance to do what I love, and try and help others. Like, that's the main thing. So going back to this gorgeous boy here. So you may look at it and go, that looks atrocious, that looks rubbish, absolute rubbish. But that is with the ink wash on top. So there's a few things that need to be done. Bit of a clean up here and there. But I can assure you, when we come back to it next week, I will be able to show you exactly how to turn from this and just highlight up and just do it in very slow up highlights, because the highlights are what's going to make it. Because this is only going to be for like the recesses. You're covering everything here, so his face and stuff, so you can get detail. But with washes, it tricks it. It's a bit of a cheating technique, so you can actually see exactly where to highlight. So you want to raise up here on Ludo's face here, and his little rubble here, and his hair. Literally just go up the top and go from there. But again, it's easier to say than do. But I can assure you, once we get another session next week, I will be able to show you exactly how to get a highlight and do the nicest, like cleanest highlights. Because that's something, again, I'm learning, and using these paints is fantastic, because I do recommend Games Workshop paints to start things off. Yes, there are definitely other ranges out there which I love. Vallejo is one of them. The game colour and the air colour and the model colour, oh my goodness me, like they have such a range that you can pick any kind of shade you want, and they will do it. But again, as I said before in the past, I want people who are just coming into the hobby, just coming slowly into the hobby, to like use these paints and just show exactly what you can do with just these paints. So I'm sure in the future I will be able to I will use more Vallejo stuff, because that's what I'm going to be using for my next tutorial. I'm going to show you how to do a decent, well, to my standard of orcs. These orcs, my skin that I've done, was the incredible work of Ben McIntyre. Showed me how to do the armor, and that's Brush Demon on Instagram. So go give him a follow, because he's good. Very good. And I'll have to get back to you guys on the AUX scheme, but it's a 5-stage highlight or 5-stage process. But it goes from doing using Vallejo paints and also Games Workshop paint. So it's a bit of an interesting one because you get to mix both Vallejo and Games Workshop paints. But it's very good. Having that diversity is great, and I cannot stress enough to write things down. If you literally get a scrapbook, yes, I've crossed out Arceus Opus. Yes, I love them, but I'm an orc, so I have to use this stuff. So as I can see before, if you have just joined or just watching the end, and that's absolutely fine. It's in my painting book. Painting book is nice and snazzy, very snazzy. Got my trademark symbol right there. And quite obviously, Orcs is best. Everything else is rubbish. So in here you can write down like your ideas, what you want to do. So in here I've got my ogre skin for my Age of Sigmar stuff, which is very, very good for human skin as well. And that was done by Dave Glacier, Armory Dave. And so give him a like on Instagram as well. He is again doing fantastic stuff with the 30k, 30,000 points to 30k. And that is just looking wicked so far. And there's many things I want to add to this book. But as you can see from down below, down here, not here, just there. About with Ludo's good old face. His left face is very dark and obviously having very orangey. So once we get the highlights up, it will start to look a little bit more like Ludo. So whenever you get to that stage, do not worry. Honestly, do not worry, because these inks, Agrex Earthshade in particular, will leave recesses. So don't worry, as I said before about the pooling. Don't worry if it seems to be pooling a lot. As long as you've got the flat spaces that are clean or not too pooled, the next highlight will look lovely. Trust me on that one. And with the way we're going to highlight Ludo in the future with the base coat, then mix in the layer with. So we're going to have like base coat. Then the next layer we do base layer, base coat, then we get the layer mixed together. That's the next step. Then the layer, then the further layer, mix that together for the next step, and the final layer. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-stage highlight. 5-stage highlight, but it will give you a bit more, not clarity, but a bit more smoother finish to your miniatures, and that's why I definitely would. I'm going to teach you guys, or literally show you guys what it looks like, because you could do the classic way, you could do the way that I was taught, or you could do the way that Games Workshop's now saying is a good way, which is base, ink or wash, then layer, which is again fantastic. It's good. Or you can do the contrast way, and contrast, I have to say, for doing small projects or stuff on mass projects is a very good thing to do. I definitely would recommend the contrast paints if you're doing like a goblin army or something that you want to do quickly. That definitely is a good start. So yeah, we're coming up to the end of our video, and I do apologise for not doing a lot of painting, but with the Agrax Earthshade and the highlight of the hair, well, mainly with Agrax, it's just you can't really do much while it's drying, and I wanted to show you guys how to do it like a proper way, because I'm not a professional. I'm just doing things I'm just doing this to try and help you guys look into doing something more different and more interesting. But when it dries, I'll put a pic up on my my social media, so it's like Facebook and my Instagram, and show you exactly how it looks. And then next week I will spend at least an hour showing you guys exactly how to highlight the hair, and then possibly start the skin. So the skin is going to be again, like I said, 5-stage highlight, and it's going to basically be a bit of just a nice little casual journey going down, enjoying the painting and my soothing, calming voice, if you can call it that, to be honest, because I'm very much very nice and calming person. What I've been told anyway. But yeah, I just want to say sorry about not doing a lot of painting, as it were, but chatting to you guys and giving you some more background about what I do, and enjoying what I'm doing is great. So if you guys who have watched this video now, or you're watching it on Facebook, or you're watching it on YouTube, if you guys want to basically have any input, anything you want me to work on, anything you want me to show you how to do, I will research it and I will come back and I will basically show you exactly how to do it to the best of my ability. So without further ado, just want to say thank you very much for tuning in. It really does mean a lot to me, and helping you guys out. And yeah, just keep on having a decent day, or an evening now is the best way to put it. And always remember, hugs not drugs. Have a lovely evening, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend. Goodbye.